Raw dogging reality. Raw dogging reality. All right, that's the theme song. I'm reclining, coming to you from a recliner somewhere in the universe. I'm going to do this universe background a lot. And I might be shirtless and I might be reclining. And I hope I don't come across as too sleepy or double chinned. But with that said, let's get into today's topic. So the hook is addiction is not moral, it's about self regulation. When you put addiction in the context of you're just trying to regulate your nervous system, and because of the traumas you had and the culture you live in, the best self regulation options that were given to you are booze, weed, porn, yum, 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 Oreos, and maybe also like social media, and it gets all the way to heroin and stuff. But like those are attempts at self regulation because we want to feel at peace and whole in our bodies with ourselves. It's really just what animals do, human beings do. And there was a study of monkeys at like a Sandals resort. Some monkeys, uh, well, let me set it up a little bit better. These monkeys were studied at the resort because people would leave out their pina coladas and cocktails and stuff, and the monkeys were observed what they did with these alcoholic beverages. Some monkeys got totally fucked up. Some monkeys had a little bit, and some really didn't touch it. And this was studied over a period of time. It wasn't random. So it seems that people have genetic predispositions to regulating in a certain way. Even animals do, as well as, what culture they live in and how normalized it is to numb out. And then, thirdly, and it's really everyone in this culture because everyone's numbing out. And thirdly, it's the trauma. Because if you're traumatized, which we all are, whether it's shock trauma or repetitive trauma, then you're going to look to self regulate when you feel overwhelmed. So you put addiction, compulsion, bad habits, and resistance in the context of the desire for self regulation, and immediately the morality leaves. So, what do you do with that information if you actually want to make a change? Well, I could just keep being permissive of myself and forgiving myself for, oh, well, today's pornathon was just my attempt at self regulation. Today's pornathon was also just my attempt at self regulation. Well, I feel like shit, but it's just my attempt at self regulation. And that's probably not going to help you progress in your life. So it's really important to have compassion and to compliment yourself and to change the inner narrative, the neuro linguistic programming with which you work with yourself. So it's like you're doing great, you're just trying to self regulate, and I hold you to a higher standard because you're not just a victim of your past. You're not just a victim of your story. I had a dream last night that I was with my old therapist and Tatiana, and he was like really excited to see us. And the only thing he said to us was, "Have you seen the movie Good Wounds?" Good Wounds. That's not a real movie. So he was just kind of saying to me in my subconscious that any wound that we sustain can be turned around and made into a good wound. It's the story we tell ourselves about it. My brother died when I was 8. Shock trauma. I had a very old father. I had an enmeshing mother. These were good wounds so I could be where I am today. That's the hero's journey. So whatever you have going on, whether it's current trauma because you've got too many things to do, too many kids running around, and then you keep kind of re-traumatizing yourself with your addictive, compulsive, resistant behaviors, or it's just past trauma and the past hasn't come to pass yet because you haven't learned how to do that by, meditating, therapy, exercise, loving yourself. You haven't learned that, so you're still stuck in the past, which is just most people. So whatever your current, trauma cycle is, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on trauma, but you know what I mean. Whatever your current conditioning is, you have the option of either being in a martyr mentality or having a sense of agency right here and now, which is a little bit of a paradox. It goes against maybe some of the 12 step language, which I believe ultimately I'm powerless over everything except myself in this moment. It looks like I'm posing. That's funny. But I'm not powerless over myself in this moment. That's at least relatively true, right? So, what's the next right thing I can do with agency to make my life better? And there's patterns, and we have to work on pattern interrupts, and that's what I'm super interested in. What are the most effective pattern interrupts? So, I hope I didn't come across as too sleepy. If you're interested in pattern interrupts and raw dogging reality, which I think I'm going to change to raw dogging reality freedom from addiction, just so it's clear. Then subscribe and go to my website, davecashmenscoach.com. And I'll have more to say on self-regulation. I'm just going to end with this thought on the nugget. When you see things in terms of self-regulation and not in terms of you're good or bad for what you're doing, you have a chance to interrupt your pattern, have more compassion, and change your behavior. Shame is somehow comforting. It's familiar, and so we shame ourselves. But it's not efficient. Forgiveness, complimenting yourself, understanding, and then without over permissiveness, going ahead and making a change with agency. That's where it's at. We are powerful in this moment over the next right action. Chew on that. I'll chew on it because I'm in my 365 days. I'm not supposed to be doing this as advice, but rather experience, but can't help it. Got a lot of good advice in me. So I'm going to go back and enjoy my Saturday and not shave my chest ever. Good day.